This first set is dead even.
Unbelievable combination.
Wow.
Beautifully done.
What a great spot.
Hello and welcome to the 2025-26 APTA Tour. We are live from the Glenview Club in Gulf, Illinois, bringing you the 2025 Chicago Charities Grand Prix with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsor, Corians. Tournament support has also been provided by the following local tournament sponsors: Illinois Bone and Joint Institute, Wind Trust, Viking Athletics, CPTC, the Chicago Platform Tennis Charities Men's League, CNSWPL, the Chicago North Suburban Women's Paddle League. I'm Brad Easterbrook alongside Steve Sullivan, bringing you men's quarterfinal round action between our number one seeds and defending national champions, McNerney and Morgan, and the number 9 seeds of Leon and Muoio. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Brad, doing great. Excited for the first Grand Prix of the season. You know, this is a quarterfinal match. Our defending national champs, McNerney and Morgan, on the far side with, you know, the challengers this week, Matt Muoio and Ethan Leon. You see there, you know, some of the profiles popping up here. So yeah, pretty new team. Leon and Muoio from the East Coast, from Delaware, Pennsylvania. Leon's at Waynesboro outside of Philly, and Muoio at Radley Run. Leon's one of those players in the last year. I think he's about a year and a half into paddle that's been getting a lot of chatter about potential, you know, big junior tennis player. Played college tennis at SMU. He's got all the tennis skills, a little bit more firepower. Matt Muoio is someone we've seen a lot, you know, in the Mid-Atlantic region. A very sort of smart, methodical, patient player, maybe a little bit like an Andrew Wong. So, yeah, it should be a very interesting matchup. Obviously, the experience of McNerney and Morgan should be the dominant, you know, trend we see today, but let's see how it plays out.
All right, our umpire for this match is Tyler Brandenburg. And, you know, you talk about a team that had an ascendancy last year in McNerney and Morgan. They can play slow. They can play fast. They have a great complementary skill set. You know, McNerney probably, he's in the handful of players, as you would say, one of the best players at the net in the entire country. Only a couple of guys you can even talk about being at his level at the net. And, you know, Morgan crushes the ball on both sides, and they'll take as long as they need to win a match, as per the national finals last year, where it was over 5 hours. They played another 5-hour match, and that sort of led to our scoring system that we're going to use this year, Steve. And what's the new scoring system?
Yeah, so it's been pretty exciting. This is week 4 of the APTA Tour calendar, the first Grand Prix. So 2 out of 3 sets for the men, no ad, server's choice. So it gets that once you get to deuce, the server decides which end they want to go, and that's a sudden death point for the game. It's interesting. It will be interesting over the course of the season to see how much time it reduces. I think it's going to have an impact on time. I think the bigger impact is about pressure, excitement, who plays well, you know, when it matters most. We're going to see some stats during the match from court director, but you know, we're also going to see like who's winning those deuce points. And through the course of a 2 or 3 set match, invariably the team that can kind of win those deuce points tends to sort of prevail. So yeah, I like the scoring. I think for us and for the viewers and for the players, a 5-hour match at some point gets a little bit stale. But yeah, let's see how it turns out today. That's Graham McNerney on the far side in blue, serving to Matt Muoio in the deuce court on the near side.
And we're underway. And so far, it doesn't look like McNerney and Morgan have had any trouble in their first couple of rounds. I think they were 1-1 and maybe 1-1 or 0-1 on the one before. And a good win for Muoio and Leon, beating off the 3rd seeds of Murphy and Schneider. So they just won 7-5, 7-5 in a good battle. Wow, that's a tricky little shot he tried, but slaps it into the net.
Yeah, that last round of 16 match, it was probably, as I looked at the draw, the most interesting matchup. There were a couple of good matchups, but, you know, Tom Murphy, obviously very steady, very active and sort of exciting to watch. And his partner's also pretty new to the game. Ronnie Schneider played tennis at UNC, played professional tennis, you know. They had a pretty good season last year. They definitely sort of made a name for themselves as a pair. And yeah, all the credit to a 7-5, 7-5 win by Leon and Muoio. So that's a little bit telling. I think this is a different challenge and obviously a much bigger challenge they have today.
Yeah, I think one of the situations where I'm not sure if Leon has played McNerney before, there are shots that you normally use that you have to be super careful with against a player like McNerney. He closes the net almost better than anyone. And if you hit like an off-pace drive, he will just come right over and just hit a drop volley. So the off-pace drive is something you got to usually put in your back pocket a little bit, and and he just volleys so well that certain shots that you think are going to get a certain result, they don't get the same. That's a nice move there and a smart lob volley there from Leon. Great lob.
Yeah, Matt Muoio, I'd probably use some adjectives like sneaky. He does take chances. We've seen in these last couple points. He's definitely a creative player, and he can play very patiently. He's a very steady player who likes to sort of throw in some unique, rushing the net like we saw in that last point. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these two as a team. They didn't play together last year, so how they sort of gel throughout the season.
All right, so we're underway here, and McNerney and Morgan take the first game.
Yeah, you can see some of the new graphics and technology that we're bringing together this year. Streambox Labs, Court Director, we're able to tap into some, AI as well. You mentioned the draw a little bit. Yeah, I think for McNerney and Morgan, they've had a pretty easy way, to get here. They had a bye in the first round, a 1-0, a 1-1, and then the last round, another 1-1. So, a little bit of a tougher road for Muoio and Leon. They, first round, an 0-1, a 2-1, and then that 7-5, 7-5 match. So, yeah, it should be a little bit of an interesting contrast from an experience perspective. But I'm fairly confident we're going to see some interesting talent from the other side of the net.
Oh, for sure. And I like that. He's using the shovel serve. Very few guys have used that. It's been experimented with. We'll see. He's just keeping it low. He's just basically pushing it low. No spin, no nothing. And he's letting the lowness of the ball do all the work for him. Since the ball's not high, they can't really tattoo it downward. So the best they can do is hit it hard and forward. We'll see if they start taking it early, though, and going right at the net. Man, that's sort of the danger there. But so far, and I think it's a great serve against McNerney, and there you already see Adam Morgan. He stood in about 4 feet, 3 feet in front of the baseline there. And you can see McNerney doing the same. But so far, it's been very effective because they're up 40-love here, but they're going to maybe draw a bead. We're going to watch this as the match goes on. There's this little sneaky play. McNerney hold that drive so well, so he's way in, and he's just going to try to go hard at the body with this thing because he can't dip it at his feet, but you can try to frame him.
Yeah, that's Adam Morgan right there. You mentioned the big championship match at Philadelphia Cricket Club for them to take the national championship, 5 hours plus. Adam Morgan, he grinds in that corner and he swings away both sides, grunts, swings away. He's very energetic and intense how he plays paddle, which Graham McNerney is a little bit more laid back and methodical. But yeah, you see him take a big cut on that last one. I think we're going to see a lot more of that today.
And here's where you're going to see McNerney go to work. All sorts of variety on his overheads. He's probably 6'4", and so he has the ability to hit waterfalls from off the net. and then he closes extremely well. You see him do it right there. So he's almost like looking for your drives frequently. And he's so tall, it's not easy to expose him. There's the off-pace drive that he'll hurt you with. He'll hit a drop volley like that. See Muoio. Muoio's he's sneaky, like you said. I like that term for him. Like he'll slap it hard one time, and then next time he'll sort of bunt it and come in. He gives you little different looks. And Leon looking to push his positioning in the court. There's a little bunt with a blitz.
Very clean, simple backhand from Leon. Just sort of pushed it down the line there, but he's hit a couple big returns off McNerney's serve in the earlier game. But yeah, really nice technique.
Oh, that's dangerous.
That crafty stuff is potentially the danger spot against McNerney.
Yeah, he didn't get a good look there, but I like called wide.
I like the pause and the talk. This is an unorthodox team. Their movement, they've been a little aggressive, and I think they've gotten themselves into some tricky positions so far. But McNerney and Morgan, likely the first time they've played them for sure.
That's right.
The first time they've seen it potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there you have a moment. There's a little bit of a learning curve for them too. The first time you go out in a paddle match that look long is figure out where are the safe places I can hit the ball on the court. Where is this guy going to crush the ball? Where can we go with this? And right now, they've also shown you various looks. You've seen Leon go forward. He's pushed his position in. He's pushed his position back. They've dinked in blitz. They've crushed it hard. They've made a couple of mistakes, but it's different looks. I like it. That's a terrific spot there. Quick take back early. Hammers it right down the line, and a good break of serve there for Muoio and Leon.
Yeah, it's a very, if I think about Ethan Leon's backhand, the technique's very simple, right? Straight back, straight through, but he had a nice little shoulder turn there, and I don't think McNerney saw it coming down the line. Maybe didn't see him attempting it down the line, but yeah, a little bit of a unexpected volley there by Graham McNerney, but very clean, simple, and in paddle, the bigger the swing, the trickier it is to kind of keep the ball where you want it. So I like the first two games on the board by Leon and Muoio.
Oh, absolutely. And how many times, Steve, do you see McNerney get caught like flipping his paddle to the forehand? It's very rare. I mean, he'll do it here and there, but he's pretty much backhand volley almost all the time kind of guy, which many of the great volleyers are, but not all. Like you'll see, Regalado and Salazar, they'll flip their paddles a lot of forehand volleys. Powers will use a forehand volley, and they've done well with it because of their technique is good enough in the flip. And McNerney's pretty much a backhand volley player. So when he gets caught, it's usually that he's caught.
So this is Ethan Leon in the blue sweatshirt to serve here to Adam Morgan, far side deuce court.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Nasty.
Yes. He lets it drop. And once he shows you that, the moment he lets it drop again, you got to start running forward. That was crazy, that little flipper there. And it shows me these guys are loose and comfortable. I love it.
Yeah, it's like that player or two that do it on the serve. You see it coming, and all you can do once they show it is sort of crash the net.
Great spot there, but he laid that over right into the Morgan forehand. And, Adam Morgan, he's a hammer. He sees the ball up there. He hits it. He's not tricky. He doesn't, follow up with a lot of blitzes. He will here and there, but it's mostly you hit it there, he smashes it at you. Oh, we're getting some super slow-mo going here.
Yeah, a little choppy on the video, so apologies to the viewers. We'll get that straightened out.
I kind of like it. Strobe effect. Oh, look at that read from Muoio. Just hammers it. And wisely doesn't come in because he hit it so hard. No shot at getting the net. That backhand you just talked about before, Steve, it is tricky because it is so short. He can drive a ball that you don't think a normal person will drive.
Yeah, don't love the last look. I think that was a little bit ambitious.
Yeah, he's pretty far off the net there. Makes it a tough shot. He actually didn't have McNerney right on top, so they would have just bailed. But all right, there's a fault. All right, so McNerney Morgan looking to get that break right back. Wow. Wow. All right. Yeah, we'll see if we can straighten out some of that choppy video there. Getting one than the other. It's like frames in a comic book.
Yeah, we're getting the headlines only at this point, but let's we have the technical group looking at it.
But either way, the bottom result is 2-2. McNerney Morgan get the break back. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's definitely, Brad, a different sort of cadence of how these two play. You know, I use the sneaky word for Muoio. We've talked a little bit about the backhand from Ethan Leon, but they're very dynamic. They're very energetic. They're experimenting. They're trying different shots. They're moving quite a bit, which, you know, is always exciting. But they've also put themselves into some tricky spots. You mentioned, you know, Graham McNerney's net coverage and how, you know, softballs could, you know, almost be impossible. So let's see how they sort of stay in this the next couple games. You see there, just a very natural.
But I definitely get a sense, though, that McNerney and Morgan they're figuring some stuff out as well here. Oh, we just got a score pop up there. So Garcia, Nieto, and Thieler, their ace seed, lose to Lofgren and Ong, and a battle out there. Good three-setter. That's an up-and-coming team as well. Alex Thieler, and Gonzalo Garcia Nieto.
Yeah, watch a bit of that match earlier. They took the first set also in a breaker. I think there was a 7-1 breaker. And Lofgren and Ong slowed down that second set a little bit, but they looked very good. Garcia Nieto looked really good. His mobility and sort of athletic. There it is.
Yeah, see, that's going to be, they're going to have to put that in their back pocket. He's had 2 winners and 1 that he popped up, but it's a bad shot to use. And you can be creative and do different things, but that is not something you use against McNerney. He is constantly on the prowl to look to get that ball, and his wingspan allows him to just cut it off so quickly, and he has great hands. Carve. I also don't think that's useful, other than unless you want to play in transition. Well, look, McNerney, you can push the ball to McNerney all day long, right, and hit it soft. But when you hit it hard to McNerney, that's where he creates, right? His screen drive is excellent, and anytime he can move forward, he's one of the best blitzers in the game. And I don't care how good your hands are, you're playing into his strengths in that way usually.
And his, you know, his first step distance and his, you know, wingspan. Yeah, there's not really a lot to get. Oh, great hands there.
I tell you what, they're fearless, though, I have to say. He baited him into that, and Morgan took the bait. He went straight at him.
Yeah, that was upper quadrant. That was, but, you know, going at the body is not the worst spot, but he baited him to just hit it way too big.
All right, 40-30. We have not yet seen the no-ad point come into play yet. I haven't seen Muoio hit a deck forehand yet. Like, if you hit it hard off the screen, he hammers it. And he's got kind of a good kind of push dink with a blitz behind. haven't seen him hit the just the basic, off the deck forehand yet.
Yeah, you can see he's got a little bit of a flatter approach. Yep, that's tricky.
Yeah, again, water falling. McNerney, you want to push it straight at him.
Yeah, that ball's by Muoio's putting Leon in a really tough spot when McNerney's right on top of the net, but there's that backhand.
Yeah, it's a great backhand. That's a nice try. Great dig there from Morgan. A couple of years ago, he was getting spun around, and he wasn't making that get and the get before. And there were a couple of matches where we saw him get actually basically, kind of taken out in that corner. People would start attacking him, and he'd get one or two, but then they'd get him out. But he's gotten so much better at defending that. Look at that. They spun him in circles, but he's still keeping his paddle down. He's moving with it. And, it's one of the reasons why they were able to win nationals last year. Prior to that, the accepted wisdom of you could probably get him. Oh, good fortune there on the left cord.
All right, great point there. Yeah, two quick games for McNerney and Morgan, but also a quick read from our national sponsor, Corient, the official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 2025-2026 season. Corient is a fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do. Learn more at corient.com.
All right. Yeah. In my estimation, this is a great match to watch. It's fun. I haven't seen a lot of Muoio and Leon at all, and neither is McNerney Morgan. So there's a lot of back and forth. They're playing a little too much. They might be playing the style they want to play, but they're also playing too much into their own hand, into the hands of McNerney and Morgan right now. They got a good break early on a couple of quick little backhand that caught McNerney, but he missed a couple volleys in that game, and it feels like they're starting to kind of find their rhythm. But it also feels like Leon and Muoio are playing some shots that are into the strengths of McNerney and Morgan.
See Adam Morgan, starting 3 feet inside the baseline now. Talked about Muoio's push little serve, underhand push. Intent is to keep it as low as possible. Get that big swinging high to low return. I think I just missed.
Got a little. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Just missed, but
yeah.
but it's interesting because they're in there. It's a hard serve, but that's the key: is to take it early, and just keep it solid and through. They'll let some go through, but it's hard because you can't hit at their feet, but you can step up in there. I'm curious at the second. It's sort of like, going through a picture of the first round, the second round. Is there a time where people find this, and the serve just becomes not the perfect thing? Because I think it's a danger more for the guy at the net than for the guy coming in. But so far, Morgan doesn't feel comfortable because he's a kind of a bit of a flat ball driver.
Ethan Leon loves his forehand roller. I think he says that's a favorite shot he has in the game, and he's definitely trying to test Adam Morgan over there with some different looks at it.
Oh my God, there is a creative shot. Oh, I love it. Doesn't fool anybody, but you haven't seen that yet. That's amazing. First time I've seen anybody try that one.
In the midpoint, right?
Midpoint like that, yes. I've seen it on the serve, and I've seen various versions of it at the net, but not from the baseline, midpoint. Where he's basically just going for a heavy cut, and it's been, if he gets it close enough to the net, it will spin back over, and it could do so violently. But that one went a little far, and you could see McNerney and Morgan knew how to play it well. But they are working, different boundaries, and I kind of like seeing it. It's
Yeah,
a good look.
good look. Leon moved way back to hit that swing volley, a few steps behind the service line. So Adam Morgan rightly saw him back and just missed it.
Great shot. And that's the one case where, McNerney does so much work at the net that Morgan thought he was taking that ball. Great spot, though.
All right,
Really good
sudden death
transition.
here. We got deuce, server's choice. Muoio decides to go to Morgan.
Yeah, this serve has so far been effective against Morgan. He sees it now, but he's afraid to really pull the trigger yet. That's a big point here. This is where it gets very unique, where we'll see how this new scoring system changes things. Normally at a deuce point, Morgan would feel totally free to go for his shot, but here you got to make the return, right? So if he doesn't feel completely comfortable, you got to put it in. So
Really good coverage there by Graham McNerney.
Yeah, Muoio's great work there. Then see, he tried the shot too soon
Absolutely.
And then that's where the point turns, and it's a little unfortunate in the sense, like, I like what they're doing, but you have to have a time and a place, right? And you have to have it in the point. 4-2 now. McNerney Morgan, 3 games in a row.
Yeah, it's interesting. Love the point, love the different tactics, but just pulled the trigger at the wrong time on the wrong point.
Or maybe in his mind, the way he's thinking of it is, I'm just not good enough at it yet, so I have to do it more, right? You know what I mean? Like, yes, it didn't work, but it didn't work because I hit it a foot too far. If I get that thing a foot closer, I'm going to start winning points with it. And it is a very different view when you're a year and a half into the game versus, a team that's expected to win like Morgan and McNerney, right? They're playing with house money. They just beat the 7th seed, right? And they're up here against the reigning national champions. So they can look at this as like learning experience. Let me figure this one out.
Let's have fun. Let's compete. Yeah.
Yes. And they're doing all that. They just a few too many loose balls here. They're going to have to tighten this up because, McNerney and Morgan just are they just don't make enough errors for you to play this way because they're not just going to give them all back. And on top of that, strategy-wise, you do want to try to play your game, but you want to play to your strengths, but also play to your opponent's weaknesses or exploit them to a degree. And I'm not sure all these shots are doing that.
Yeah, after the 2-1 lead, McNerney, or 2-1 deficit, McNerney and Morgan have sort of just methodically worked themselves back. Point here for 5-2.
Well, you want to start to look at it also like, yeah, they're methodically working. They're doing what they do, and they have finishers. See, that's the right time to hit that shot. Beautifully done. And, perfect finishing point. And they have those too, but they're using them at the right time. Part of this comeback or these last 3 or 4 games have been aided by Leon and Muoio. Every time they've tried one of those super tricky shots, are they winning at this point, Steve, or are they losing? Right?
Yeah.
They're not winning the points, right?
So 5-2 McNerney Morgan. Just a quick check. Court Director, courtdirector.com has some of the other live scores. We see Regalado and Salazar 4-love lead against Dabic and Parter de Andrade in the first set. And another quarterfinal, Grigorovich Stojic down 5-4, Bacher Frazier. Very interesting.
Yeah, Bacher still, he doesn't move the way he used to move, but he has an amazingly good forehand and great hands. And the way they're going to play that is, allow Bacher to play certain position balls, hit his forehand return all day long, of which he has an absolutely fantastic shot. And he's got incredible skills and good hands. And, Frazier, it'll free him up to do some things. And Bacher's return will allow Frazier to blitz. So it's going to be interesting. Not surprised by that.
Brad, you mentioned waiting to potentially see Muoio's forehand off the deck. He holds an interesting grip. It's sort of a flat, almost Eastern grip. And the biggest balls he hits, whether it's off the screen or maybe, one high when he hit off the deck, it's almost like a slappy sort of, it's a half push, and he uses it for touch as well, but it's really kind of open and slappy versus kind of covering it and hitting through more natural topspin type technique. So definitely it's a little bit unique and you can see it there in his roller.
You can see it as he's hitting that roller, right? He's not dropping the head and rolling it up. His roller is really I wouldn't even call it a roller, right? It is moving over the top, but not the way your typical roller moves, right? Now, see, this is the thing too here, because this is what also McNerney and Morgan can do all day long. So you take out the other shots, the cuts and the big ones, but now they're just not going to miss ever, right? So I get the point that you want to make something happen, see, but that's a better time for it because he has an easy ball and he goes right hard at the body.
But it's different. It's different than the typical acronym, shot that we talk about. He just really kind of flattens it out and just like he should, he goes right at Adam Morgan to try and make him first get out of the way and then figure out how to recover it off the back screen. But again, a little bit unorthodox.
That's a great ball there. Good move from Muoio. Yeah, and you could see the high to low forehand. He gets to hit down hard and flat. He's got that. And that time, McNerney set him up for it. All right, game point here for Ethan Leone. Again, I'm Brad Easterbrook. Oh, a little push serve there, along with Steve Sullivan. Men's quarterfinal round action.
Love the push serve. Caught Adam Morgan cold. And Matt Muoio, again, he went to the sort of overambitious trick shot, which may be wrong time or place. You're right. 40-15, you're down 5-2. You need to put points on the board. Just maybe a little bit too aggressive in pulling the trigger on those shots.
Yeah, this is a good team, though, Leone and Muoio. I feel like they're still just – this is almost like watching a real time of them trying to figure out what style they want to play, where they want to go. I don't know that they're fully even taking full consideration in okay, McNerney, Morgan, this is what we're going to do to them. They're doing a little bit of
you're just playing
kitchen sink in it.
Yeah,
right. And they're going to work out whatever it is. Good team. That one's not going to be nearly as effective as the other. Yep. Good shot there from Morgan. He's still got him on the move.
You can see the variety from Ethan Leone at the net, soft, patient, kind of push overheads to the cutter.
Oh, I like that one. He's faking basically the hard overhead now. He's used it twice, and then he's pushing under. Yep, there's again. That's a good one at the crease. Morgan's going to – oh, I thought that was coming out hotter. It stayed low. Ah, gorgeous. Right in the corner. All right,
but that's the point you want to see. Just grind. And, without those nicks, Morgan and McNerney can stay there all day. But, yeah, they hit a couple, 2 or 3 in that point. They're very talented. They have a lot of the skills. I think just keep grinding. the other thing I like, Brad, is they've gotten themselves in trouble from a position perspective. Early part of the match, Matt Muoio is moving, blitzing, and both of them sort of have gotten a little bit trapped and, take their medicine, and their team member kind of comes over, helps out. They're not chasing too many balls, which is always nice to see. That's a trap for some young players to try and over defend and go for balls you shouldn't go for, either wrongly off the screen or something your partner should take. So definitely some nice paddle IQ for a young team.
Oh, he moves up the wire, but he doesn't get his racket out in front. His paddle gets it a little late. McNerney lets it go. That's a great carve there. And McNerney, he does such a great job. And, one of the defining characteristics of a bunch of the players who are very good at the net is they set their racket up early. And from that position, that set up overhead position, they can hit 6 or 7 different shots, cut it down, cut it off to the side, push it through the court. All right, so set points now for McNerney Morgan. Workman-like good set for them. Ooh, just popped that ball wide. A surprising miss. All right, 1 set point saved. Muoio's, he's like a paddle flipper. I like it. He's going to go through like 2,000 paddle flips in between the points.
He needs some gum or something.
He's loose. No, I love it. They're loose, And I actually love that. They got to discriminate in certain moments like that, fadeaway, backhand drive, set point down. And, it's just discrimination at this point. But like we said, they're just kind of saying. All right, so we'll be back in just a few moments right here on the APTA live stream channel.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Last swing, Leon, it's like. All right, welcome back. We are here in a men's quarterfinal match between defending national champs McNerney and Morgan against the newer, younger team, Leon and Muoio. McNerney, Morgan took the first set 6-3. Just the first point here of the second set. I'm Steve Sullivan with Brad Easterbrook. Brad, a little bit of an interesting first set there. We're seeing some very dynamic play, shot selection from Muoio and Leon, but McNerney and Morgan, defending national champs, sort of tightened it up and made business of the second half of that set.
Yeah, they're down 2-1, and they take 5 out of the next 6 games. And Muoio Leon just kind of experimenting, working through. It to me, it's just like they have all the talent. They just have to decide certain things a little bit. Not every situation is the right time for certain shots. They just got to start to discriminate a little bit more. Now, that said, McNerney and Morgan, they can play any speed. If you speed it up too much, that's actually when, McNerney's backcourt offense comes in. But if you slow it down, then he just doesn't miss. So, right, this is why he's been such a good player and partner. That was a mistake there from McNerney.
Yeah, but great move. I think you're right. Leon saw that ball coming off his paddle very quickly and just put himself in the right position.
Great volley there, and that's a typical play. McNerney's going to stand up. He's going to trust in the Morgan volley. He's going to Morgan drive and his own volleys, but a really good volley there.
Feels like a few too many by Matt Muoio. Probably seen 6 of those in the last 3 games. Adam Morgan tattooed that one.
Yeah, it works best when he can hold it a little. There, he's just whacking it, right? It's that he's not thinking something else is coming and having to worry about it. He's just speeding it up. All right, works there though. Draws him in, volleys it behind. Good start there for Leon and Muoio.
All right, let's see if we can get another couple score updates. It looks like Grigorovic and Stojic up 2-1 in the second. They did lose that first set 6-4. The other quarterfinals, Regalado Salazar against Dabic and Pardo de Andrade, now up 4-2. They were up 4-love. So nice to see Dabic and Pardo de Andrade fighting back a little bit in that first set.
Yeah, we were talking a little off air about sort of the season. It's kind of a wide open season. On the women's side, you definitely have, the top, 2 teams of that we saw in the women's final today, which was a great final of Paige and Lopez, and then you have Hanish and Dabori, and you still have Morgan and Sakura, who've sort of been right there. But you don't know where the next space is. Like right now, those are the people you're looking at for the national championships. And here on the men's side, similarly, you got McNerney Morgan, you got Powers Nunez, you got Regalado and Salazar, but then you have these teams like Leon and Muoio, working their way through this. You see, it's wide open. The 4 seed at this tournament, we got Bentheim and Bursch. It's got a nice, Bentheim is a lot of offense, an incredible talent, and Bursch super solid, super steady. And then you got Dabic and Pardo Andrade. They're definitely up there and making the move, but it feels like a wide open year. That's a little top heavy, and we're going to see who makes these moves as the season progresses. I love these paddle flips. It's mesmerizing. The early backhand.
Yeah, he's made most of them. He's got a lot of options with that backhand, and the simplicity in his technique. See him hold it there. Really nice shoulder turn. He missed, I think, 1 on a Graham McNerney serve that got up a little high on him, but looks like it's a shot with all sorts of optionality by Ethan Leon.
Yeah, optionality. Plus, it just looks like it's not a lot goes wrong with that, right? He's just setting it up. It's right behind the paddle. Paddle's right behind the ball. Boom, drives it, and he can quickly change direction with it because it's so compact. That's a good ball right there, right into that back wire, and then it sticks near the side there for Morgan. Can't come up with it. Oh, great.
Yeah, I like that one better, right?
Yeah,
he let it drop, and he sort of played it on one side of Morgan with the option or the ability to it not go all the way to the side screen, not go up too high. And Morgan had a tricky play on that ball. So I like the speed and direction of that one a lot more.
All right,
than
so
sort of
no ad point here, and they're going to Leon.
Interesting choice. Challenge it, right? Defending national champs.
Yeah, I think it's that. And I also just think McNerney's serve is better to the ad court. He can really kick it in there wider. So I think that's what they went with. No, lower than the net. And they're both in good position. See, this is where you got to choose your shots, right? Tough.
So that's Ethan Leon here in the near side serving. His partner with the blonde hair at the net, Matt Muoio, serving to Adam Morgan. Due side, that's Graham McNerney ducking out of the way of that ball. So it's interesting when you think about how these matches come together. And just real quick to pull up, you can see 2 out of the 2 points of the sudden deuce death have gone to McNerney and Morgan. And, sometimes that's 6-3 is a 1-break set. So this match is a little bit tighter than maybe the scoreboard, but yeah, Leon and Muoio definitely a little bit using artistic liberty a little bit with some of their trick shots and cutters, and but very impressed so far with some of the racket skills of both players.
Yeah, they've definitely decided to go after Morgan. And they're going after him. You know, they're trying to establish a pattern. They're good long ones and get him chasing up the wire. Ooh, he teed it up.
Big cut.
Now he goes to the other side, and they'll find the same type of shot, long and low, long and low. Switching the backcourt. There you go, pushing it through the court, and these guys aren't really biting. They're waiting for the shorter ball, and that one was. Those points were all good discipline, solid, and exactly the kind of point they want to play.
Yeah, both Muoio and Leon have a lot of different looks they can give that defensive team at the baseline. Oh, nice grind out of that first volley.
Ooh, I think
that's a tight spot. Really tight.
Wow, it looked wide to me, but
it did.
But it wasn't called wide. So 40-15 now. It was a great shot right on the outside of the line. McNerney got a little flat-footed. Didn't see it coming. Oh, off the tape. Too
great
good.
Effort, but too good.
Yeah, great shot. And you could hear Leon go, no. You know, he thought that ball was going out. And then when he cut it off, he was rushing forward so much. Couldn't cover the other open court. Oh, look at him sliding back there.
That just hurts my ankles looking at it.
Yeah, that's a great move. All right, so we got another sudden death no-ad point. And it's 2 for 2 so far for McNerney Morgan. Make that 3 for 3. And, you know, in essence, Steve, it's essentially what you talked about in the beginning. But is it a surprise right now in a match like this that they're the ones bearing down in these moments? I mean, that was just a fault. So, you know, I guess those things are just going to happen. But it's one of the huge differences in the match, right? Those 3 no-ad games.
Well, look at some of the statistics. And these are brought to us by Court Director and Streambox Labs. But you can see the differential in total points, you know, 5 points of difference, pretty close. You can see holds and breaks, but yeah, that sudden deuce is one. Those 3 points, obviously they're game points, could, you know, absolutely be the difference maker in this match. But as we go through the season, I think the people who play these, you know, big points. I mean, this is what we hear. We've heard it in tennis from people like Roger Federer, who talk about only winning 54% of the points in his whole career, but he figured out which points were the most important, and he just, of course, had the ability to win them. But yeah, tough fault there. This is Adam Morgan here on the near side. New balls, they're taking a couple hits with it. I think we got about mid to low 40s temperature in Chicago today.
Great return there. Early, coming forward, Muoio. So let Cord to help him out.
And that's where that sort of flatter, pancakey type technique of Muoio gives him a lot of different options and sort of, you know, can give you that momentum play to come to the net. See him stepping in here a little bit.
And you can see the court, in various spots, it's got a paler blue and a darker blue, right? And that's just a little moisture on certain areas. Could be some condensation, this and that, but you saw Muoio, slide purposely, on that other point. But the court is not completely dry. I don't know if that's going to change things up for the players at all. It doesn't look like it's affecting play whatsoever.
Just a bit outside. A little smirk by Graham McNerney. Not many people have the guts to pull that off midpoint like Matt Muoio there. See, Leona Muoio switched up here, but no rush to try and correct that. Comfortable playing both sides.
Third panel smash there. He's going to another one. Now, all it does is move him to the middle, and then it allows him to hit a cutter, right? Shorter. Versatility. Always exceptional from McNerney.
Yeah, his height gives him the ability to hit just an unbelievably tight angle on that inside out overhead there.
And they also just have to lob a little better. They got to get it. That's 5 overheads in a row. He's inside the service box. That's the one he got back on. So there's the one. So there's another way he's inside the service box. It's a little better.
And then they're different looks, right? He's flattening it out on some, changing directions.
And you see Morgan's really just waiting for an opportunity for him to just cover a ball that, this is where they do their work at the net. It's mostly McNerney. Morgan making the spot volley, and he'll hit occasional rollers. And this is vintage McNerney Morgan. Right here, he's going to roll that. Yep. Roller again. I would say 70. I don't think actually Adam Morgan ever hits an overhead like over his head traditionally. Have you ever seen it actually? I think he hits them all as a roller, basically.
Huge ball by Matt Muoio. Oh, it's got to go out. Great point.
That was a great point.
I think the crowd at the Glenview Club in Gulf, Illinois, agreeing with us. Great point there. Big take by Matt Muoio.
Oh, he's got it. Sliding it again. Oh, big ball. Oh,
what a point.
See, it's a tremendous point. It's just great athleticism. Muoio sliding all over the place. And that last drive, though, he's going to challenge McNerney there. I think the key is to hit the lob up down the line.
And that's experience, right? Changing the temperature of the point, when it gets so, fast and exciting, at some point you just have to take it down a notch and start over. Certainly Graham McNerney at the net, not sure you're going to gain anyway.
Great movement on that backhand. We talked about it a few times, but it's so short. Terrific skill set out here. Just a little more discipline in some moments. Oh, the confusion. All right, but they managed to squeak back and get it.
Great stretch. These points aren't going too deep, but this point's, a little bit longer.
Oh, wow. He hits that one beautifully. And you can see Morgan tracked it, but he got turned around and he wasn't able to move the direction he wants. So the ball was constantly moving off to the other side of him.
And then you look up and you're looking at the side screen and your depth perception's tricky. So, yeah, that's that, acronym swinging ball we talk about. That is very tricky based on where you put that ball and how to, first get out of the way, not get hit, and then charge the net. Yeah, well done there to get back to 2-all.
I tell you, I think Muoio's serve against Morgan, very effective. Morgan's not able to do much with it.
Talked about Leon and Muoio from the Mid-Atlantic area. Ethan Leon from the Waynesboro Country Club outside of Philadelphia, PA. And Matt Muoio, Director of Adult Rackets at Radley Run Country Club. Way to stay home there by Leon. Number 1 seed, definitely the home team from Illinois. Adam Morgan and Graham McNerney, both from Chicago area. Morgan's co-director of rackets at the Birchwood Club in Highland Park, Illinois. And as we said, the epic 5-hour national championship match beating Nunez and Powers last year at the Philly Cricket Club.
That was epic. Goes again. I like his try, but I'm not sure. It seems like he's trying the same shot every time, meaning he's putting it high in the air. But for that to work, because it's so high, you've got to put it only like 6 inches to a foot over the net, right? If it gets a little further beyond, it's not like something that's dying that someone's not going to get to. What he's trying to do is to physically spin it back over the net, right? So they can't reach it. But it's going out too far. And I think even if he put it 6 inches from the net, maybe it would work. But I think they run it down and touch it anyway. So I'm wondering, that's not a smart move there from McNerney, even with his hands. He's got a high ball inside the service box. And that's kind of a hope and a prayer ball there. And smartly, Muoio just slams it down at his feet. See, if I'm Muoio, I would be letting that thing drop, and I wouldn't be coming under and up on it as much. I would be coming out a little bit more to keep it slightly lower, and then it's just going to sit and die more. But I understand what he's trying to do. I'm just not sure of the feasibility of it. But I believe he did one. I mean, he obviously probably does it all the time because he's tried it like 5-6 times already, Steve.
Yeah.
I do have some, friends and and guys I know who are looking to try to make it a double or triple point or a game ender. Like if you spin it back over the net for a winner, you win the game, no matter what the score is. Oh, they just went full body, and he wasn't even on the court at that point. So for him to win the point, he would have had to hit him.
Well, he absolutely. As McNerney drifted into the green, Muoio's target stayed the same, and he just missed him. A little bit. Not sure that was perfectly intended, but yeah, maybe a little chuckle there by Matt Muoio realizing there's a time and a place for that shot, but when your opponent's in the green, missing him shoulder high is not necessarily the the place you
I
want
don't
to
know if
go.
it's that high, but it's hard to tell on our
Yeah.
angles sometimes. But all right, so chance for a break back here for McNerney Morgan, who are, they're doing what they do, playing to their strength. Morgan, he is constantly ready to drive. If you watch him, he's just prowling. And what makes him so good is that he could go 20 to 30 balls, and he does not lose focus or intensity or anything of the sort. He's always ready.
Let's give a couple score updates. Grigorovich and Stojic came back, Brad, and won that second set against Bacher and Frazier. So it's a set all. Bacher Frazier up a break, 1-love in the third set. Regalado Salazar won that first set 6-4 against Dabic and Pardo Andrade. So yeah, those other two quarterfinals still battling it out here.
Yeah, so good job by Dabic and Pardo de Andrade. They're down 4-love, but they bring it back. And whether you win that set or not, what you want to do is get the set at least more, and you're, playing the way you wanted to. So they obviously came out of the box a little slow. And those guys are also tremendously talented. And sometimes they have to figure out the right time to rein it in and go for it as well. But a lot of skills out there for Dabic and Pardo de Andrade.
And still to come, the quarterfinal not yet on the court. Bentheim Burish, our 4th seed, against Lofgren and Ong. They went to a third set tiebreaker in their round of 16. So they are likely going to follow one of these matches.
Yeah, Bentheim Burish, that is a team with good parts. Bentheim can hit any shot in the book. He's got offense off both wings versus great serve, good backhand, and it's just super solid. Great volleys.
Yeah, I mean, if the national championship was a 1-set competition, I think Burish and Bentheim are absolutely right there. There's just some streaks that Russell Bentheim can put together that are absolutely impressive.
Yeah.
But you have
but there's the flip side of that as well,
right?
The one thing I've always said, for Russell, and he'll probably, Russell Bentheim, he needs to know that he doesn't have to finish every point. Right? Whether it's, he doesn't have to be the one who finishes it every time. There are times where he doesn't have to be that one person. And but anyway, great spot there. Finds Muoio's forehand volley there as they flip it over. Ooh.
That's a little slippery there.
Yeah, it did. I was going to say, it looked like he was sliding. Oh, look at him. He's putting that thing right through the court. That was beautifully done. He lets the first ball drop, cuts it long and low. I mean, I think there's some condensation there, too. I know it was, kind of warm today, but the day warms up and then the sun goes down. Get a little condensation on the court. And to me, you remember how there was a lot more spaces that were clearly, a lighter blue and a darker. There's less of that now, which, leads me to believe there's either condensation or some sort of moisture forming, so this may, they may want to look at putting the heaters on, but none of the players are saying anything at this point.
Yeah, really tough small target there. Matt Muoio went after, and Graham McNerney made him pay.
Oh, he reads it perfectly, but can't come up with a volley.
No, it looked like his grip got a little bit flattened out. So this is interesting. Now that I made that comment, looking at Ethan Leone on his overhead, the push overhead, he does sort of pancake it out a little bit. He sort of moves his grip around, but then he's got the classic, semi-Western grip on the roller. So see, that one's pretty flat.
Beautiful down the line lob. He controls his lob so well, McNerney. Oh, he goes for it. So as much as it's like so difficult to withstand, like to do that another 100 balls, that flurry is kind of the reason that led to the end of this point here going in the favor of McNerney Morgan. It's tough, and that's what McNerney Morgan can do to you. They don't miss. They don't give you anything. So you want to force whatever action you're going to force. But that's when they're ready and, they put it to you after that. Yeah, they're just getting impatient. They just want to make things happen. Oh, just a one-timer there from Morgan. There's a cutter that bites into the wire. Then he goes long and deep. That explodes out, but yeah, well done.
A cannon backhand.
That was huge there. And I think McNerney missed his spot on that overhead because he popped that off the screen, and just beautifully done there from Leon. He just tattooed that. And I think on the court right next to us, if you see on the side there, again, they're reading it well, but Morgan puts them so hard and right on top of the net. Though, even though they're right there, it's a tough to handle.
Especially if they're trying to drop it a la Graham McNerney, right? But a lot of it looks like they're just sort of, it's tough to handle. It doesn't look like they're trying to drop it necessarily, but yeah, that's
No, I think you're right. I think they're trying to drop it. The difference is McNerney does half of although he's good on doing it on almost every ball, but those are coming in hard. There's not nothing on them. And as we were talking about the other quarter, you see Andrew Ong there off to the side of your screen getting ready. So clearly, Ong and Lofgren against Benkai Burris is getting out there. They're getting ready to warm up. So that should also be one of our live stream courts. And that should be a really good matchup and that could take a long time. Andrew Ong can slow it down, and so can Randy Lofgren. The only person out there who may not slow it down is going to be Benkai. So he may be, just a deciding factor. If he plays well, they may be able to take it out. Oh, slap shot. But again, this game, 3 missed volleys on those crossing from Morgan.
Yeah, Leon has this move where he moves to the right spot and he very aggressively places that forehand volley or tries to hit a spot. So almost sending it back with as much action directionally where he thinks he wants to play it. And when it's effective, it's impressive to watch. When in a shot like that, it's almost like he's trying to do too much. He's trying to hit offense off of offense. And when you're at the net, at some points you have to, let the paddle diffuse the power. But he likes that move.
Part of what I will say this though, part of what makes teams, and we've seen teams have players who go to the net and they cut off the ball and they're looking for things, or they play I formation, or are doing the thing with Leon and Muoio is they're still a new team. They don't really have any. They're both just doing whatever, right? You know what I mean? It's not like usually those teams have one guy who does that, and then like McNerney and Morgan. McNerney, he's the guy who does that. He cuts across, and he's going to take the volley, and he's going to cut it and drop volley. And Morgan is sort of backing up. Leon and Muoio, they're both doing it and they're both doing it at any time, right? So it's just kind of random. And then when it's random like that too, you also don't have any backup, right? Usually it's, so it kind of makes it hard. I'm even wondering if it's even possible to kind of have it be that random, like, and have complete success with it. I'm not going to say they're not going to have any, because of course they are. They're so talented, they're going to get some. But the question is, you don't need to get some, you need to get most, right? And, so it's interesting. Yeah, let's see what Leon and Muoio, this is where they should be bearing down. And we're going to see if they're going to do that or just go for it. Oh, that's a great return. Yeah, they're going for it. A really good volley from Morgan. He didn't, he had to pop it up a little, but he took a little off it, so it wasn't like a real sitter. Yeah, he's going to let that one drop and go long and through. Waterfall, the variety, long and through. No, missed it. All right. So you're getting the signal there from Graham McNerney.
You mentioned earlier in the first set, Brad, that was a little bit deeper there. But Muoio and Leon, one of the opportunities for them is to certainly get those lobs a little bit deeper. They have the firepower, but Graham McNerney's been able to have his way with them at the net.
Yeah, no, he's definitely controlling the points much more than they are. Not that time. Slap shot right at Morgan. I think he looks surprised. All right, 30 all. 2 points right back for Leon and Muoio. Hanging around at this point. That's a good block. That thing's heading right at the crease. He's just trying to take aim at it. But this is great to see, Steve, and it's actually been a highly entertaining match in many ways. Sort of a introduction here for Muoio and Leon. Leon's only a couple of years in. Muoio's been playing a few more years, but brand new team, a lot of talent.
Yeah, it's nice to see this up and coming younger talent. Ethan Leon, Matt Muoio's been playing for a few years. Ethan Leon, I think this is year 2. Yeah, this is what we want for the game. We want to see this next generation come. We've talked about the other teams, Davidge, Pardo, De Andrade, of course, Russell Benkheim in the last couple of years. But yeah, hey, this is a Grand Prix. Getting to the quarterfinals is not a small task. Leon was at 18th in the Nationals last year with a different partner. So yeah, this is exciting to see, and curious how they're going to develop throughout the season.
And we also have Garcia Nieto and Thieler we were talking about before. They actually lost Lofgren and Ong, so it's a lot of good teams out there. And, it's been a great run for, we had all along the way, and you still got actually Broderick and Christian, who are not out here, who still can do some damage and do what they do. And Broderick doing it amazingly at like 47 years old or so. Yeah, so it's going to be a great year. And we don't see Martin Bostrom out here, Philip Rams, so a few of the old classics out here. Ooh, sneaky little move. And you can hear McNerney say hard. He thinks he's going to sneak in. Now, Leon and Muoio are really slowing it down now. Look at it. They're really changing. They're digging in here at this end. Oh, great shot there from McNerney. Right in the corner crease. And there you have it. Game, set, and match for McNerney Morgan. They do what they do, which is good enough to be the reigning national champions. Any final thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting match. I think we probably would have predicted a couple of statistics here. We talked about the sudden deuce points that, were a little bit one-sided with McNerney and Morgan. Obviously, the scoreboard a little bit one-sided at 3-2. But, yeah, it's a Grand Prix. There's more paddle to come. Exciting, quarterfinals still on the court on YouTube TV. One's just starting. You mentioned Lochranong going on against Bentheim and Burris. So, yeah, Brad, it's exciting to be at the first Grand Prix of the season. Week 4 of the APTA Tour 2025-2026. So, yeah, certainly enjoyed it.
All right. So we're at a wrap here on our Streambox feed. And one more men's quarterfinal match to go. And then tomorrow morning we'll have men's semifinals and final round action here at the Chicago Charities. And that's a wrap here. Thanks, everyone.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Going cutting under, or maybe he'll